Hello and welcome to week 4 of UHL, and we have a blockbuster match for you tonight. We have Ridiculous Hat versus Spivey in a rematch of the UHL Season 1 Finals. I am Wicked Good. I am here with Lore Master Eve from Velen's Chosen. How you doing, Eve?
Good.
And
I'm excited. This is the first time I've ever done this.
yeah, it's fun. It's you're gonna. I can tell you're just gonna jump right into it, and it's gonna be like nothing's ever happened. So we've got a real. I mean, this has always been a really big rivalry. This was a huge match when they went to the finals last time around. 9 games down to the wire. Went 4-4 until like a shaman mirror to wrap it up. So and this looks like, for the most part, this week is gonna go fast because we have an aggro showcase for you tonight. We have
This is just like exactly my wheelhouse here.
yeah. I mean, we were talking about that before we went on, and it's basically like a whole bunch of aggro decks and one taunt druid. So we have
The odd man out.
yeah, so we have Spivey has a Tempo Mage with Vex Crow, Archmage Antonitis, and Pyroblast, an odd rogue, fairly standard looking odd rogue, and then a Kaliseth Zoo with double Dark Iron Dwarf and Gul'dan at the top end. So what do you think about these particular choices for him?
It's really interesting. It gives him a bit of a chance in the late game, especially if he has to survive Taunt Druid, if he comes up against it with his mage. So, I mean, it gives him options. But it does seem really out of place when you have like 1/1/1 drop, 2/2/2 drop, 3/3/3 drop, and then there's like 10.
Yeah, I mean it's like everything the kitchen sink, and then you have Gul'dan. So
Yep.
yeah, and then you have Hat, who has the Tempo Mage, he has the Even Shaman, and then the Taunt Druid. So the Even Shaman's been kind of starting to come on the last couple days. There's a couple of different builds that are out there. Hat's chosen to take the Corpse Taker and the Corpse Taker build, which also runs Defender of Argus and Argent Commanders and Alakir, and tops out at
Vicious Scalehide is
Vicious
kind
Scalehide.
of the one that gets you.
Yeah.
It heals every time it gets hit. Yeah.
Especially with double Direwolf Alpha and double Flame Tongue Totem. That's a pretty spicy list.
I'm having flashbacks because this is what he played against me week 1.
Oh, really?
And beat the tar out of me with. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty intimidated by this deck. I think it's really good.
Yeah.
He was playing it before it was cool.
Yeah, I was playing a little bit of it today, and when it gets going, it goes off. I mean, I'm not an aggro player, but if I can get it to work, it must be pretty good. So we should just take a minute to just to remind you, if this is the first time that you're tuning in, about the rules for UHL. So every week, each player chooses 3 classes. This is best of 5 conquest, no ban, because each player brings 3 classes, and then those classes are not available again until the end of the 3-week rotation. So this is week 4. So all the classes are available to the players, and there are a couple of interesting kind of wrinkles this week, both in terms of you get to know the people who you're playing against. I mean, obviously Hat and Spivey know each other really well. Plus, we have nerfs coming on Tuesday. So the classes that you're picking this week may be classes that you want to get in before the nerfs come. I know Andrew played last night, Andrew Brown from the Happy Hearthstone, and he and I were talking about strategy, and one of the things he decided to do was bring all of the decks that are broken right now, because he doesn't know what those classes are going to be after the nerfs drop. So what's your thought about that going into, like, I obviously don't give anything away from your match because you haven't played yet this week, but like going into your deck selection, knowing that the nerfs are coming in, what is your strategy and your thought process going into that?
I muted myself. I think everybody who didn't pick Paladin is kind of kicking themselves. Because it's like, oh no, what is it going to be like afterwards? We're going to have to figure out what Paladin decks we're playing. But I don't know, every time I just kind of try and go for 2 classes I'm comfortable with and 1 that I'm kind of not, because I have to get it out of the way. So I didn't really take into consideration the nerfs. I just like made my best choices for what was going to give me the best chance to win.
Yeah, that's a fair it's a fair way to go. I mean, I guess you kind of can overthink it also. Like there's a possibility that you can kind of get too cute and then just start kind of outfoxing yourself. So there's that fine line, but you really do. I mean, I'm fascinated by the thought process because, you know, as somebody who doesn't do it, but who is, you know, seeing it by both in terms of casting and in terms of, like, you know, talking to some of the players and talking about decks, it's a fascinating kind of, you know, you can really go too far if you're not careful.
Yeah, it's a lot of firsts for me. Like, first time casting, first time playing in the UHL, first time, like, tournament at all. And so I didn't put too much thought into the first time I played at all. It was just like, I'm going to play my favorite decks, the ones I like, the ones I'm comfortable with, and then lost all 3 games. No, wait, I won 1 against Hat. Sorry, forgot. Did win 1. But just was like, okay, just coming in and playing what I like is not going to work in a tournament. Like, I really actually have to put some thought into this. And so, yeah, you do need a certain amount of tactical, what am I going to play first? What are they bringing? What are my best matchups? But, I don't know, at the end of the day, if you practice a lot with a deck and you're really good at it, don't you have a good chance at winning anyway?
Yeah, I mean, it's a matter, I mean, there's always kind of that balance of, like, do you bring a deck that is good against everything, or do you bring a deck that you know really well? So we're giving the players the go ahead to get into round 1. What would you start with on each side for both of these players? Like, going from Hat's side and then going from from Spivey's end.
That is a good question. For me personally, I was given the advice that you go with your weakest deck first, and you play it until you win with it. So whichever one that they're the least comfortable with, that's the one that they need to, like, lose first with, and then play until they get a win. And then the rest of their decks that are left over are all the good ones that they're comfortable with. So I don't know that Hat is uncomfortable with any of his decks.
Yeah.
But
maybe if he was bringing, like, Control Warrior, that might be...
The odd man out is kind of Taunt Druid. I might just lead with that because all of this stuff is super aggro.
Right. So we are getting into game. The players are underway, and we have Hat on the Even Shaman versus Spivey on the Tempo Mage, and Spivey's getting the Mana Worm into 2-cost spell if he wants it, opening that you always want to see when you're starting with Tempo Mage. Job's done. And Hat is deciding to go out with the Primal Fin Totem, get the 0/3, instead of the normal opening with an even deck, which is just hitting your hero power. So I don't know this deck well enough to know if this is the right thing to do, but Spivey has the Frostbolt in hand and is able to immediately answer, and then and this is the speed that we're used to with these two players, just back and forth. I love it.
I don't even think. I just know what I'm playing next. Yeah. It's awesome. I just think he wants to have bodies on the board so he can contest what Spivey is putting out.
Yeah.
And the big thing with him is if he pulls a giant, he wants to have enough bodies on the board so that's cheap enough that he can put that giant out as soon as he gets it. So that's kind of like, get a lot of bodies, go wide, be too much for the mage to handle.
Yeah, and this is going to be interesting for Hat to see how he navigates this. So we get the Sorcerer's Apprentice with the explosive runes. Not really any great way for Hat to deal with this. I guess he could play the Corpse Taker into this, take the 3 damage, but at least have the minion left over. But
no, I think he wants to remove. Yeah, he really wants to get rid of that.
Yeah, it looks like he's looking to...
And 3 health will take 3 ticks off of it, so...
Yeah. And I guess either way, he's taking 3 damage regardless of what minion he plays, so it's not really any big difference.
Well, Corpse Taker, if it had Divine Shield, he'd take like 5, right?
It's a 3/3, right? Yeah, it's a 3/3.
Yeah, but if it had Divine Shield, if it came out with Divine Shield...
I believe it takes it subtracts from the health that's on the minion.
even if it hits Divine Shield and doesn't,
I think
only does 1 damage?
I think that's how it works, but I imagine we're going to find out at some point in this match, for sure. So, so this mirror image is going to block some of this totem damage, and we are seeing a Flame Tongue totem bonanza, it looks like. Both totems coming down, Hat going as wide as he possibly can and trading off all of these minions and just leaving a bunch of angry totems on the board.
That healing totem is doing some work.
Oh, it is. That is an MVP right now. And Spivey doesn't really have a great way to handle this. He can play a Vex Crow and ping off the 3-1, which is just going to end up buffing the taunt totem. He can fireball one of the Flame Tongues, but not really. He doesn't have the kinds of things that he needs, which are the Cinderstorms and the Arcane Missiles, to start handling this board.
The thing is that Hat can't really play Hagatha at all right now without just clearing his own board.
Yeah.
So I see that kind of sitting in his hand to the end of the game.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Hat's super sad about that. I think he's looking for that more as like healing. Oh, and the fireball is going to come down on the Flame Tongue totem.
That hurts.
Yeah.
That's gotta hurt.
I mean, that does save some of the damage incoming to Spivey.
And there's the giant.
And right on time.
Yeah,
right
no thought. Just put it right out.
Yep, hero power first, because why not? That's the thing with Even Shaman, is that the hero power it's free as far as the Sea Giant's concerned. There's another fireball coming into hand, but I mean, you could take out this other Flame Tongue totem, but now he's got an 8/8 on the other side. This is looking.
That is lethal next turn if you can't deal with some of this damage.
Yeah, and. And he has to spend the other fireball on the Flame Tongue totem. That's I mean, again, it's the right thing to do. It's taking a lot of damage off the board, but that feels terrible as the tempo mage. So Hat's gonna hero power, drop this Corpse Taker, which has Wind Fury and Divine Shield and Lifesteal, just all the things, and Taunt, due to the Alakir and then the Vicious Scalehide in the deck.
Yeah, I don't see. Yeah.
I mean, yep, and that's it. That's game one. So a very quick 1-0 victory for Ridiculous Hat in this first game, and that's not how I expected that game to go, to be honest with you. I expected the Tempo Mage to really be able to pull ahead with, I mean, I guess you need to draw the Cinderstorms and you need to draw the Arcane Missiles and the Explosive Runes, and those just didn't come fast enough.
Well, I mean, Hat's deck really has an ability to go wide really fast. Yeah. It's very big that way, and Tempo Mage doesn't really have board clear. Not enough with the kind of bodies that he had up. So I don't think it would have made a difference, honestly. He got going fast enough and got ahead of the game fast enough that there wasn't much help he had to catch back up.
Yeah. I mean, I've even playing the deck, I'm surprised by how well it worked. We're just going to take a second before we get on with the next game, just to remind you that United Hearthstone League is brought to you by Patreon. We want to thank Zeroshio for all the support as our top patron right now, and you can go to patreon.com/UnitedHearthstoneLeague and go contribute, and that helps us do all of the things that we're doing with the season this year. I mean, you can tell from the presentation, getting full casting for as many of the games as we can, and also some of the giveaways and things that we do with the pick'ems and stuff like that. Like those, all of the money that we raise goes right back into the league, and a lot of the players and the casters and the other contributors are giving their time. So just want to kind of pay for the expense to go along with the league. So if you can contribute, we super duper appreciate it. And again, thank you to Zeroshio for being our top patron. So going into game two, so still having that Tempo Mage, what would you think with Hat pick between the Taunt Druid and the why am I blanking on it, and the Taunt Druid and his own Tempo Mage? I would imagine he doesn't necessarily want to go into the mirror, but
Mage versus Mage,
yeah,
that's difficult. That's just like depending on draw, except for his Mage is a bit more aggressive than Spivey's.
Yeah, I mean,
like he's not running some of the tempo cards. It's more straight up in your face.
Which one would expect from Ridiculous Hat.
Yeah.
I know Hat pretty well. I am still surprised that he made it to Legend with the Taunt Druid, because that's more... he and I have very opposite play styles, and that's more what I expect, from me. I mean, I got to Legend with it too, but I did not expect him to be doing that. But we
Mage
are
versus
going
Mage,
to
you
see the
called
mirror.
it. You called it.
So we're going to see a lot of fireworks.
See, Spivey is doing what I was advised to do, which is bring your deck and keep going until you win with it. So I wish him luck on this one. I don't know.
I mean, in fairness, the Tempo Mage has the ability to just go, if it gets the right draw, it can blow through just about anything. And sometimes also does beat itself. And we see Hat holding just the Sorcerer's Apprentice, still waiting on the end. Holding the Vex Crow for Spivey is an interesting mulligan strategy.
I think he wants to see it. He wants to play it. It's the most interesting card in his deck, and he just wants to play it. That's what I would do.
Well, he is on the coin, too, I guess. So, I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with the Imani Berserker coming out in the more aggressive build from Ridiculous Hat. But the mirror images will help with that. An Arcanologist to get the secret from Spivey. And... Not
it definitely makes his arcane missiles less powerful.
Yeah. The arcane, that's not something you want to play arcane missiles into, and that kind of explains why Hat wouldn't have pinged off the Berserker and trying to get the 5 damage. And it looks like, are we seeing the Vex?
That would just make it too easy
now?
to trade. Well, he'd lose it to explosive runes, but.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, if he's really lucky.
Yeah. I mean, the coin was clearly to test for the counterspell.
Right.
And now the Kirin Tor Mage is going to come down and play his own counterspell, die to the explosive runes. But I think you're probably fine with that, given that the other option was to play the Vex Crow into it.
I think he's pretty sure he knows what it is, because that could have been bad for a blast.
Yeah, I mean, you could play if you thought it's explosive runes, you could have played the Life Drinker into it too, and healed up. So Frostbolt down on the Sorcerer's Apprentice and ping, and that will pass
Life Drinker?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not even, like, he hasn't even seen what he's drawn, he's already going and pulling that out. I do like the Life Drinker in the mirror, just because of, like, it giving you that extra healing could be relevant. But this Vex Crow mirror image with a Crazed Alchemist...
He knows it's counterspell, so what is he going to burn? A Primordial Glyph?
That's fair enough.
That makes sense. Yeah,
and
I would too. Because there's chances that you get nothing out of it that's useful, right? And
Yeah.
everything else in your hand is very useful and you want to keep, so that makes sense.
Yeah, and then you see this hand coming together for Spivey. He can draw if he so chooses.
Breath of Syndragoza? Do you do that and then keep your own bodies on the board?
I wonder if you hold that for Antonidas at this point. Like, maybe you need it, but I guess no. It looks like Spivey is going to just take out that Life Drinker, start pushing a little bit of face damage, choosing to hold back on the other mirror image. No reason to play it now. That may have factored into his decision to.
I like that.
Burn the Breath of Syndragosa,
because it takes some damage from Cinderstorm, hopefully, and saves your face.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, Hat doesn't have a whole lot of board clear either. It's all very face damage.
All just pew 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 across the board. Oh, and there's the
Alaneth.
That could be the difference maker.
And mirror image did not go down.
Yeah, no, I would imagine he's probably going to want to save that for a big turn with either a Vex Crow or an Archmage Antonidas. Though Archmage Antonidas can be kind of problematic when you have Alaneth out too. It's just too many things happening all at once. So Hat's going to try to push what damage he can to try to stave off this onslaught that's about to come in. And both fireballs in the hand for Spivey now.
Do you just go face? Well, I mean, one of those is a counterspell, so you have to burn something.
I mean, you know what those two secrets are, given that they didn't come from a Primordial Glyph, so...
Right, so mirror image goes. I don't know. I think I would have burned Arcane Missiles, personally. I want those bodies to protect me.
I wonder if he's thinking that he wants to try to use the Arcane Missiles to try to clear off this Arcanologist without having to burn, like, a Frostbolt on it.
That's possible?
Yeah, this hand is a little bit awkward for an Alaneth turn, just because, like, you have an Arcane Intellect, but you don't really want to draw more. You have a Frostbolt, but that's not doing much for you. You have a Kirin Tor without a secret, and then you have two Fireballs that you really want to go face, but not right now.
You could have burned the Arcane Intellect just to get that out and not draw cards.
Yeah, you could have done that too.
We're backseat drivers here.
Yeah, well, that's part of casting, right?
I have no idea what I would have done.
Yeah, so the Arcane Intellect coming down. Oh,
is he really digging maybe for Antonidas? Like he really wants Antonidas here?
Yeah, so the Kirin Tor eats the explosive runes and then plays an explosive runes of his own, which is that's really strong again going into the Alaneth. Oh, and this Mana Worm is going to meet an unfortunate demise.
It does take 3 off the damage, though. That's decent. And then Life Drinker. Life Drinker is just such a good card in this deck. Like, I never thought of it, but once I saw it in the Mage decks, I was like, yes, of course. What other health do you have? Like, Mage has no healing.
And it's another burn spell, effectively. So
yeah.
But that counter spell coming off of the Keysmith, and now the Archmage Antonidas in hand for Spivey, starting to get all of his expensive cards. Will burn the Primordial Glyph into the counterspell and then play the other one. And looks like we're not getting to see what the Discover options are for either player. But that is going to be a Deck of Wonders. It is UHL. I really want to know what the other cards were that he chose Deck of Wonders, but there comes another counterspell.
We're gonna go face with it or clear? Clear, yeah.
Yeah.
I just realized now that Life Drinker is the perfect counter to Explosive Runes.
Yeah.
Because it sucks up 3, and then it also heals you for 3, so that just makes it...
Oh, this is gonna be a turn. So we
I'm
got
just catching up here.
Yeah, we're gonna get the Mana Worm starting to get pumped up. Still gets pumped up even despite the counter spell. Now the Vex Crow comes down. Maybe? Okay, we're thinking about it. Archmage Antonidas is probably too late at this point. Because the problem is that Spivey has
we're just
all
going
the cards.
for Deck of Wonders.
Yeah, I mean
let's
go. I mean he's got all the cards in the world, but he doesn't have enough time to do everything that he needs to do. And looks like...
I mean, Hat doesn't have any cards, so he has to top deck lethal. So he does have 4! Nice! Not bad.
Flame
Next
strike.
one.
Kill command.
I thought he was going to hit his own face.
That's almost worse.
Oh, that's
Plague.
1. Okay, that's not bad. We needed something with health. Something with, like, armor. Oh, no!
Corrupting Mist, no! Oh, my goodness.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be it right there. Oh.
That's game.
You know what? If you're gonna go that way, go out
It's a good way to go. It's a good way to go. Mad respect.
Man. I really do want to know what the other choices were, if there were anything like, you know, useful, or, you know, if he just decided we're going with Deck of Wonders, I don't care what it is. I could see Spivey going either way. Like either one of those scenarios is completely possible as far as I'm concerned.
It was amazing. He's given us a good show. Like, just good job.
Yeah. All right. So we do want to remind you we have a couple of more matches coming up to close out the week. We have Rasika versus Chris Plummer from 1600 Dust at 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on tomorrow night, and then at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time we have our own Lore Master Eve, who is casting now, versus Ziggy Sarah from 1600 Dust. So that ought to be I'm looking forward to you two going at it in that match. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
I hear she likes to bring the fun too. Yeah. So should be good.
Yeah, there have been at least, I'm pretty sure there have been multiple Norse Dormus in her matches by now, just accidentally. Not necessarily intentional Nosdormus, but, you know, accidental Nosdormus.
Accidental Nosdormus.
You know, evolved shaman things. Sorry. Evolved shaman.
Oh, yeah, that's the best. Evolved shaman is my favorite thing ever.
All right, so we're going to see the Taunt Druid from Hat. So do you think that we go right back into the Tempo Mage? That's a terrible matchup for Spivey. The Tempo Mage into the Taunt Druid, especially this Taunt Druid where he's running copies of Ferocious Howl, which just armor up for 1 million. But it looks like Spivey is gonna go
Yeah.
back to the well, and we're gonna try
Honestly,
one more
like, I
time.
don't see good odds with his Rogue or his Zoo Warlock
Yeah.
against Taunt Druid. I think this is his best chance.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, he has to win with all three. So, Ferocious Howl into Oaken Summons for Hat. Wow, this is almost more brutal than the Quest Rogue that Andrew brought yesterday against the Dogwaggle Druid. I think this is rough. Spivey's gonna need to find a polymorph off of one of these primordial glyphs, I think, in order to have a chance here, or he's just gonna have to go all out and hope he can get there. Yeah, Mana Worm and the Arcanologist gonna start the train. This Ferocious Howl is 100% coming out. 6 life, draw a card, get a naturalized, seems good. Oh, but Spivey does have the Alanef.
Many secrets.
This could be a race.
We're a couple of turns away from turn 6.
Yeah. But that might be the one way that Spivey gets there. Oh, and that Oaken Summon's getting counterspelled. That's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all he could have done, though, to pop that. I mean, I guess he could have naturalized. I mean, what are you saving naturalize for?
He could have played the Witching Hour into it, actually, because I mean, you're not going to need multiple Hadronoxes to win this game. You're probably never getting to Witching Hour. I think I actually would have liked to see him burn the Witching Hour on that, because the Oaken Summons is so core to how this deck goes. And now all of a sudden, things are way out.
Wow, Spivey is just going wide, just going all for it. I respect this. This is a good play. He's like, I have to get this done. I have to get out in front.
Yeah, and I don't even know. I mean, this naturalize. Yeah, I mean, I guess it has to come down, but it feels terrible giving more cards to
a burn mate.
Yeah. Oh, and more cards.
Yeah, he's just going to take out Ironwood Golem with his Fireball, no problem, and then everything else is going to go face.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, he can even throw an Arcane Missile behind this if he wants to. I wouldn't imagine he would.
Just to get his Mana Worm buffed up. I honestly would have targeted the Mana Worm before I would have targeted Sorcerer's Apprentice, because that thing's just going to keep growing. Although he does have Primordial Drake. No, it's not going to be soon enough for him.
Yeah, I mean, this Ferocious Howl will heal him for 6, and there's a Nourish a little bit too late.
Yeah, wow. Awesome. Good job, Spivey. Yeah, that was the best choice.
Wow, that's a tough matchup for the Tempo Mage, and that was a really, really well played by Spivey, just like putting his foot on the accelerator.
He knew he had to go all in or go home, so that was good job. Good choices.
Yeah, so now we have Spivey with the Zoo and with the Odd Rogue. I mean, it doesn't really matter. He's gonna have to play one or the other. Which one would you like going into this next match?
Me, I would go more aggressive again, so his Rogue.
Yeah.
Oh, he went Zoo.
And we'll go Zoo.
But like you said, he has to win with all 3, so, it doesn't really matter. Hat is down to his last deck. He doesn't have a choice of what he plays. Yeah. Spivey has to win with both of them to win, so.
Yeah, and the Zoo can cause some trouble for the Taunt Druid. Again, keeping that Ferocious Howl in his opener, again, not surprising, given how much he does need the armor in these matchups. And the Wild Growth and the Nourish, that's going to be a pretty good curve. You might even see him coin out those Wild Growth just to get to the Ferocious Howl. But then again, that's going to be less healing, so maybe not. Nope, he's just going to pass and another Nourish. So he's got Ramp and now card draw.
Yeah, I'm thinking Spivey might just decide to do the same thing again. Go wide, be very aggressive, be very greedy, because that's the only way he's going to win this.
Yeah, and I mean, that is if the Taunt Druid can't find the taunts to hold off this aggression, that is the way that you beat them, because they don't have
There's a lot of spells. A lot of spells in his hand, not a lot of bodies.
Yeah, I mean, we might see him, I don't know if we might see him point out the Nourish next turn, just to start trying to get this ramp going so that he can get to that ultimate infestation.
Does he have Swipe in this deck? Like, does he have anything
Swipe
that can...
he would have Swipe.
Okay.
This Ironwood Golem is timely. He'd rather get that off of the Oaken Summons, but even just a 3/6 dumb body in the way is welcome right now.
Yeah.
Oh, and that Soulfire.
What are you going to throw?
Ooh, the Fungal Mancer.
Yeah, that's rough. That's a helpful card for him. But, you know, you got to get rid of the taunt.
Yeah.
And it's better than trading all the bodies into it and losing everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the alternative was just to go Saturday Night Chain Gang, and that doesn't really do anything here, so...
Do I have to tell you, Spivey, you are supposed to tap first.
It's the pro plays, you know?
I guess he didn't want to, like, accidentally discard Gul'dan or something. He was like, everything in my hand, I think I can lose.
Yeah,
Next turn, put down Despicable Dreadlord?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, or the Dark Iron Dwarf and the Firefly could work, too. Yeah, so there's the Despicable Dreadlord comes down. I'm going to push another 4. And Hat is on 8 mana, but doesn't really have anything to do with it. It does have his Ferocious Owl that he's not even waiting. That's absolutely 100% happening.
Yeah, there you go. He got a Tar Creeper.
Yeah. Now
Staunch the bleeding a little.
Wrath and Spellstone on the Dreadlord, the Spellstone having just gotten pumped up by the Ferocious Howl. And then another trade into this Voidwalker to start weakening it up. And then you have Coin Ultimate Infestation for next turn, and that'll be 5 cards in hand. There's a possibility.
Yeah, those cubes are just kind of sitting there, not doing much for him right now.
Yeah. This is one of those matchups where you sometimes do play the cube just as a 4/6.
Yeah, as tempo.
I don't know that Hat's there yet. This swipe.
Oh, there's his swipe. That's going to be helpful.
Oh, he's going with the Infestation, though.
Yeah. It's going to give him a 5/5 body and armor.
Yeah. There is a small chance.
Essentially health.
There's a small chance here that he could burn the Hadronox, but I don't even know that you care. I don't think you're necessarily getting to Hadronox in this matchup.
Ooh, Vicious Fledgling.
Wow. That escalated quickly. Okay, so what is going to get... So the Witching Hour gets burned, that's fine. Hat doesn't care, he's not getting there anyway. Ironwood Golem comes out from the open summons, brings him back up to 28 life. Swipe on the Vicious Fledgling. I feel like an auctioneer. Like, this is going like a lightning speed.
Despicable Dreadlord needs to come down.
Yeah.
Oh, tapping first. Good job.
Yep. Oh, that
Silence.
That Spellbreaker is going to be... It may not be for now. That's probably going to be for later. Because there are more important things to silence than a 3/6 that can attack sometimes.
He's counting well. He's setting himself up.
Yeah, so this Primordial Drake doesn't really clear off anything. It just kind of weakens what's on board. The Spellstone takes out the Dreadlord. And then trade the 3/3s into each other. And now you have a 4/8 staring and a 1/1 with a Doomguard. Glacial Shard.
Doomguard doesn't even clear that, though.
No, but the Glacial Shard at least keeps it from attacking.
And then just make a board.
So I guess this way, you're getting rid of the stuff you don't super care about. Keeps the Spellbreaker, which is huge.
Yes, he keeps his Spellbreaker. Good job.
And then you have the potential to be able to trade into this over 2 turns. Hat can draw up to 10 cards with the Nourish.
Oh dear.
And then yeah, so we have that. The Tar Creeper is going to come down just to get in the way of this, and then Hero Power.
You know what I would have done? I would have cubed my Primordial Drake and then naturalized it.
I've done that, and it works pretty well, believe it or not.
I mean, he doesn't have anything in his deck that he can easily handle 2 4/8s.
Yeah.
That would just wall him out.
Alright, so the Saturday Night Chain Gang comes in. We trade the Doomguard into the Tar Creeper. And then Spivey's starting to get a little bit low on life, though.
Yeah, he's tapping so much. I think that Hat is starting to stabilize a lot.
Yeah, but Hat's also down to 4 cards in his deck. So
he's at
that, I mean, he's at 36.
He's at 36 life.
So
I mean,
yeah, but one Gul'dan could make a difference here. That's relevant.
Did we see two Doomguards?
Oh, here's the Gul'dan.
There's Gul'dan.
No, we've seen one. We've seen one Doomguard, and the silence on the Carnivorous cube. Master Oakheart is going to bring out the Hadronox next turn. But this Gul'dan, this could be close.
There's Hadronox.
so there's Hadronox and Naturalize. So that's going to give Spivey 2 more cards. And bring back what are probably going to be a bunch of mostly low-value taunts other than the 4-8. We don't have a, we only have one 4-8. We don't have a Lich King. And there's the other
he can
guard.
clear everything out of the way and then get all of his demons and remove that 4-8.
Yeah. Okay, so we gets rid of the 4-8. Gul'dan's going to bring back the first Doom Guard with the second one in hand.
And he's going to start getting health back from the hero power. This is going to be a good game.
Yeah, this is really going to come down.
The
to
Dreadlords are amazing.
Yeah,
like the Dreadlords are doing work.
There's a Lich King. I don't know if that's enough though, or if you just need to go for Witching Hour Cubit after this. You may have to, because this is.
I wonder if he's going to make a safe play, or if he's going to.
I mean, I guess you have one turn, right? You have one turn to develop that, so that you know that you're getting that back in the next wave, hopefully. Yeah, I might like to see the Lich King come down here, because I don't think you're dead on board here. I think you have the extra turn. And you have 2 branching paths in hand. But this may be enough to just wall Spivey out at this point.
Okay, has Spivey used both of his silences?
I believe he used one. So he should have one left in the deck. He's got the hero power. He's got a Doom Guard. He could play everything in his hand and then the Doom Guard, or just use the Doom Guard to get rid of the Flame Imp, which would probably be a better just to not take the hit on the life.
Take the damage.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah, because, I mean, all of these 3/6s are going to be able to attack. And he's just going to have to try... I mean, Hat does have the Naturalize for the other cube if he wants it. Because Spivey's not going to be able to get through to that cube this turn. Just going to try to work through... And then let the Despicable Dreadlords do their work and clear off some more of these taunts. And Hat is out of cards. This swipe is going to help a lot. And you could also trade off the cube into one of those Despicable Dreadlords. Swipe one of the 3 health minions and then trade off the other one.
Spivey only has 6 cards left in his deck.
Oh, yeah, that's...
And he's going to be top decking every turn because he doesn't have any card draw.
And there's the door slamming.
Yeah.
So that's going to be another wall of taunts against a Dark Iron Dwarf. He's got one Spellbreaker to at least make sure this other Hadronox doesn't go off.
Yeah.
But that's
we wouldn't give her a Doom.
Yeah. That might kill him too. He's only got 3
cards left. That's true. He's only got 3 cards left.
Yeah, I think Hat might have made his way out of here despite Hadronox being the
Give your
next
minions
last
attack. He's got lethal if he gives all of his minions attack.
Yeah.
Twice.
And that's it.
Yeah.
For now.
Wow.
He made a good play for it. It was looking like he was gonna take a second game.
Yeah, that was really. I mean, I'm out of breath just because I was having to
trying to keep up with how fast they were playing. I think he's gonna. Okay, he already did it, and the next.
Let me see. Oh, let me see if I can not knock over everything in my office. I can see if. Let me see if we can get them both into a call, and we can talk about that, because this was a really fast match, as one would expect with these 2 players.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to actually, I'm going to hang up on you, and I'm going to bring you back as part of the group call. So.
Oh, it's Spivey.
Yeah.
Just happy that it's finished.
All right, so I will talk to you in 1 second. All right, and then let's switch over to that, and we will bring them all in. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
You guys play like I play, like just card after card after card, just go, go, go.
I'm gonna let you guys
it's
talk
amazing
for a
to
minute,
watch.
so I can catch my breath, because I was basically doing play-by-play like the Micro Machines guy during that whole match.
It's asking us to slow down. It's just not going to get you anywhere.
Oh, I know better. I just grabbed on and held on for dear life was all that I did. But
It was quite the ride.
That was a hell of a ride, and those, I mean, especially that last match, that was really down to the wire up until the very end, especially with the Hadronox at the bottom of the deck and the Gul'dan right in time, and yeah, I mean, so before we go any further, because we couldn't see the discovers in the Tempo Mage mirror. So, Spivey, I need to know, what were the other two things that you were choosing between that were not Deck of Wonders? I need to... I was in suspense, and I really wanted to know what you were choosing between.
Oh, I don't remember. Deck of Wonders just seemed like fun.
It just spoke to him. It was calling out his name. He had to choose it.
I think Blizzard was a card, and then there was one other, obviously, but I don't remember what it was.
I think you made the right choice.
Yeah.
For all our sakes, we really appreciate it.
I mean, for the memes, that was wonderful watching that go off. I mean, I'm sure it could have gone better from a gameplay perspective, but from being able to cast it, it was entertaining.
I was crossing my fingers for some kind of armor for you, for like some kind of armor up. It would have been good.
Or like Ice Barrier or something, but...
Yeah, Blizzard wouldn't have done anything, and I needed something to happen when I had Aluneth, and then that few cards left in my deck.
Yeah. So how, why don't you want to talk about, I mean, obviously you're bringing the best decks that you play. I mean, was there anything more to it than that, or just, you knew that Spivey was coming and you're just putting every silver bullet in your weapon that you have?
Well, I definitely took this match pretty seriously. I got fortunate enough that it lined up at the beginning of the week reset, and I wanted to take decks that were fluid in what options were available to them. Like Druid has a few decks you can play. Mage, I played Big Spell Mage last week and Tempo this week, and Shaman, I think there was an opportunity for Shutterwalk because Eve beat my face in with it week 1. But it ended up that the lineups that I expected, outside of Warlock, the only thing that really scared me with even Shaman was just the Warlock, and then I think Taunt Druid, which I'm very familiar with, lined up pretty well against what Spivey brought, and even Shaman against 2 of the classes, and then Tempo Mage. Anytime I see a Warlock, I bring Mage.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't think you were necessarily expecting Zoo for that.
No, I mulliganed away a Wrath, and then there was a turn 1 Firefly. I'm like, well, that's different.
So Spy, what were you thinking with what you were bringing, to bring back up against Hat?
I have severely limited knowledge of the Witchwood meta, so I went through and found the decks with the best matchups to the classes he had. I also brought Odd Rogue. I considered bringing Control Warlock or Cube Warlock or Quest Rogue, but I just I didn't think that they were the right choices against those classes, and that was my first time playing with Vex Crow, so that was fun.
That's awesome. I love Vex Crow.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you didn't get the Vex Crow Dream, which was the Vex Crow into the Flame Tug Totem, but you also didn't get into a Doomsayer, so I guess that's
yeah, that was something.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that so. I mean, I noticed that you kept the Ferocious Howl in both the matchups. Is that generally your strategy as the Taunt Druid going into an aggressive matchup? You just keep that and look for ramp. Is that typically what you're doing with that? Because, I mean, your list is a little bit different in that most of the lists have cut the Ferocious Howl at this point, and I know that you've said at length that that's something that's worked for you in your Climb to Legend.
Yeah, against Warlock, again, I was assuming it was control, so card draw and shield blocking is generally a good thing. It worked out against Zoo, but I was expecting it to be more of just cycling through the deck and just building a decent armor base early on. And against Tempo Mage, it's so important to build up a base of life and have a spell you can throw in a counterspell if you need to. It kind of does a little bit of both. It does not beat Mana Worm Arcanologist Kirintor Mage, which I felt the pain of that opening for sure, but it gave me a chance for a second there until I got Double Sorcerer's Apprentice and kicked in the soft parts.
Yeah.
I was blood on that one.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it worked. At turn 6, I was like, well, this is over.
I pondered for a moment, and I was like, we're just going to go all out and see if he can answer it.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can do as the Tempo Mage. I mean, they have so much armor gain. I was actually surprised that you didn't throw the Witching Hour into what you thought was the counterspell rather than the Oaken Summons.
I've never been sure if I can actually cast it with no Beast Tide.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah,
That's
because
yeah.
There was one time I thought I could do that, but then I brought back a 1/1 cheap, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's why that's castable.
Yeah, I think it's not green. That now that you say that, I think it's not green unless you had a beast die. So that
answers our question
Yeah.
in our head that we were thinking.
Yeah.
And it wasn't lit up, so that's exactly why.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, well, but then you also have to think about if it is explosive runes, what's the downside? Like, if it's explosive runes and I play a witching hour for nothing, it's actually worse for me. So I need to take the risk there with that kind of opening. Like, Spivey was going all out, and he had identified correctly that the amount of time you have in that matchup is limited, so strike fast and strike hard. If that open summon stuck, I was okay, and if it didn't, I lost, but I needed it to stick, and I just had to play into the counterspell and hope it was runes.
Yeah. I mean, you got a 50-50 shot, and, you know, that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but... Well, that was a barn burner. That was exactly as advertised.
It was burning fast.
Yeah.
Just like, it was hard to keep up with, but it was also very exciting.
Yeah.
Like, we were both on the edge of our seats, just trying to keep up. You guys were amazing.
Yeah, it was.
Welcome to Thunderdome.
Yeah. It was definitely like riding Space Mountain. You're screaming for about 2 minutes, and then all of a sudden it's over. Anything else either of you like wanted to say before we sign off?
No, just good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, good game indeed. Yeah, props to Spivey. I mean, as always, he's a fierce opponent, and I mean, I've been looking forward to this match, but fearing this match for a while now.
Yeah.
So good games.
I mean, I think that, you know, this was definitely one of the marquee games on the schedule this week, knowing how good of a players both you are, and this did not disappoint. So well played to both of you, and congrats to you on the win, Hat, and good luck to you in week 5.
Thank you.
All right, so I think that's going to wrap it up for us. We still do have one more match on the schedule tonight. I have to bring up the calendar again. Because I closed it. That's not good.
Fill the dead air.
Yay! But yeah, so come on, Google, let's go. Okay, so we have Nate Wolf versus Mike Lowe. That will be in about 45 minutes from now, and that will be cast by Cinder and Bodicus. So make sure to come back in 45 minutes at 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And then again, we have Versika versus Chris Plummer at 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight, and then Lore Master Eve versus Ziggy Sarah at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow. So come back. There's a lot more action left this week. And on behalf of Lore Master Eve, I'm Wicked Good. Thank you for watching, and have a great night.
Good night.
Bye.